Hello and welcome to Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and this episode of Born to Speak to You TV explores how life's unexpected twists can become opportunities for growth, especially when we choose to accept and embrace, rather than resist change. Through powerful stories, real conversations, practical wisdom, these viewers, you the viewer, will learn how to navigate transitions with resilience, faith, and purpose. The phrase, growing through what you go through reminds us that every challenge carries a lesson and that true transformation begins when we stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's next for me? This episode is going to inspire you, the audience, to see a change not only as a disruption, but as divine direction. A chance to become stronger, wiser, more aligned with who you were meant to be. We'll be right back after this message.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. This episode is called Embrace the Shift, growing through what you're going through. Change. It's one of the few things in life that we can count on, and yet it's one of the hardest things to accept. Change can lift you up. It can knock you out. It can open doors that you may never have imagined, or it can close doors that you thought would always stay open. But here's the truth. Change isn't the enemy. It's not. It's the invitation. An invitation to evolve, to stretch, and to become the person that we were always meant to be. When change comes, it challenges our comfort. Okay, when you're uncomfortable, I always say that's where you can grow. It's the invitation, an invitation to evolve, to stretch, and become the person that we were always meant to be. And when change comes, yes, you won't be comfortable. It exposes our fears. It introduces us to a deeper kind of strength, the kind that whispers, you can handle this. Whether it's a career transition, a relationship that's ending, a health scare, or maybe just the passage of time, change is both a test and a teacher. The downfall of change is when we resist it. But the benefit, it's growth, it's wisdom, it's resilience. So tonight, we're going to dive a little deeper into the power of embracing the shift, how we can stop hearing and fearing change and start growing through what we're going through. My guest tonight is going to be an expert on change and transitions, and you're going to enjoy her, and I can't wait to introduce her right after this message. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tip for today. You're not stuck. You just committed to certain patterns of behavior that in the past may have worked for you. But guess what? You've grown past those patterns of behavior. Now they're more harmful than they are helpful. And the reason that you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. That old formula, that is for where you were. But you've moved on to another level. And it's time to have a new formula, a new solution. So change the formula and get a different result. If you keep doing what you did when you were there, it's not going to work out. You've moved on to another level, change the formula, and step into your purpose. You were born to rise.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And joining me today is Kashaun Parker, the owner and CEO of Next Step Forward LLC. And that is a coaching and consulting business dedicated to helping individuals and organizations grow through change and reach their full potential. She is a strategist, an author, a powerhouse of inspiration who helps people take the next step, not just in their careers, but in their lives. Kashaun, welcome to Born to Speak to You TV. It's an honor to have you here.
Hey, Calvin, it is an honor and a privilege to be here with you today as well. I'm excited for this conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what he said, we just jump in.
Let's do it.
As I say, I like to jump in the deep end. That's where all the fun is.
Okay.
Okay, Kashaun, change is something that affects us all. So how do you define change, and what does embracing it look like in your life?
Oh, boy. How do I define change? I think I look at change as the constant. It's always around us. It's always present. And it is something that works, I think, to support us. That's a new one that I've had to grow to embrace over the last couple of years, because sometimes I just wasn't sure. But I think all in all, it really provides us opportunities to do things that we probably wouldn't ordinarily do on our own. And then to embrace it, it's just to recognize it's not going anywhere. We are always faced with some form of change, and some things that we get involved in, they're small changes, and then others, they are life-changing, and we are growing and evolving as those things come about. So one of those things is like, you can resist it, but you'll just make it harder for yourself and probably those others that are around you as well. So I've just learned to make it a friend.
Make it a friend. I like that. That's a good piece of wisdom right there. Make change a friend and embrace it. I often have had to go through change myself. And I remember back in the day when I was first, finding myself, understanding what I could and could not do, why I wanted to do certain things. And I was facing a big change. And I often would freeze and not do anything, And I know a lot of people do that, right? They just freeze and don't take the opportunity to embrace the change. And does waiting help or make you miss the opportunity?
That's an interesting question, Calvin. I'm torn. On one hand, I think that I have experienced enough of it to where it's this experience that shows up that you don't get to avoid. It's kind of the unavoidable experience that just shows up.
Right.
But then on others, though, you come to learn that opportunity does not always knock. That door does not always stay open. And so you've got to be cognizant enough to understand that this is a moment that you could either step into and go with it, or you'll stay in the back seat and just kind of do the shoulda, coulda, woulda dance of what would have happened if I just had taken that step. I don't know that I've had the fortunate luxury of experiencing much of the latter. I think that the way that I see it is just like, you're doing this, and this is how you're going to just grow yourself. I don't think I ever gave myself an out or a moment not to take advantage of whatever the opportunity was.
Okay. All right. And I definitely agree with that, because now I do workshops on taking advantage of opportunities. I very seldom say no to an opportunity now. Even if I can't, fit it into my schedule, whatever the case is, I'll figure that out later. You need something, I can do this. Yes, I'm there. I can do it. So you're the CEO of Next Step Forward LLC. I know a little bit about your story, but what inspired you to create this business, and how did change play a role in that?
Oh my gosh. um, let's see, where do I start? So I wouldn't necessarily say I was always the visionary that thought, I'm going to be a CEO. I'm going to start a business. I think my life just uniquely unfolded that way in just this sequence of unfortunate events is what I'll call it. In 2016, I go through a devastating loss, which I lose my husband, and I'm the sole provider for my family, and really just learning to survive now as a single parent. And then within a year or so, my company announced that they're going to be closing. And so I thought, okay, like life has a sense of humor. Here we go. Let's play. And what I did though in that time, I was in the process of getting my master's degree, and I'm learning this world of business, and I knew that I loved it. And I'm also working with my professional coach, and we're just talking. And I said, I'm really liking what's coming up in me as a result of the personal growth, the professional growth, the development. And I said, I think I want to use this and help other people. That was all that I had. And then at the time, I was a leader in my organization, and I'm working with my reports and just telling them all the things they could do, all the things that they could be. And one day I got challenged, and they're like, well, Kashaun, you're really good at telling us what we could do. What are you going to do? And I sat with that. I sat with it, and I said, okay, this is my time to either do something or get off the pot. I won't say the exact phrase, but I think you know what I mean, right?
Right.
So I took a solid year and a half and really start to think, okay, Kashaun, if you're going to do this, we can't do it haphazardly. We have to really take our time and explore what we're actually going to get started here. Next Step Forward actually came about. It was the idea of my kids. They're like, Mom, you always are in a position to move forward. Why not just go with what you know? And we played around with some names, and something about Next Step Forward just it stuck. I was like, okay, here we go. And we launched in 2020-ish, around end of 2020, and I haven't looked back since.
All right. I love that story. Around that time, we were sheltered in place because of the pandemic and things like that. That's when I actually created my company, Born to Speak to You. I was like, I'm home. I have nothing else to do. I've been wanting to do this for a minute. About 6 months into the pandemic, I found myself not having a job anymore. But I had all this free time that I never had when I was, punching the clock. And I decided to make the, most of it and embrace, as you said, change. So every entrepreneur faces moments of uncertainty. I know I did. Could you share with the viewers a time in your career when change tested you and what you learned from it? When it really tested you and what you learned from it?
Oh my. Yeah, it was actually evolving into this world of entrepreneurship. I, in my background, did not come from a long line of business owners. You know, I came the more traditional route where you go to school, you get a good job, and you stay with that career path until you decide to retire. So this idea of going into entrepreneurship where you have to learn how to fish, catch the fish, cook the fish, and serve it to the family, it's like it stretched me in ways that are unimaginable, Calvin, but I promise you, I wouldn't do it any different.
Mm,
It brought forth a new level of grit and resilience and perseverance, but also, most importantly, resourcefulness. I learned in those challenging moments to reach out and try to find out who are key people that either are in my network or around my network that I could partner with to learn the things that I didn't know. And I know that one thing about me is I'm really good at being a student. I do not have to always sit in the driver's seat and show my expertise. And that's just what I did. And I think it was one of those pivotal moments that allowed me to get through some of those challenging times. I let others really guide and steer me and really come into those unique spaces where I'm ready to throw in the towel, because there have been many. Because I'm thinking, oh boy, here it is. I've blown it. This is going to be the time I fail. And sure enough, lo and behold, here I am 5 years and still at it.
all right, all right. I love that. I love that. And while we're on the subject of personal and professional journey, I know that a lot of people, when they're facing change, we talked a little bit about, the fears that they have. How can coaching help them move past those fears?
You know, I love the world of coaching. And I love it because it creates this really unique and intimate space where you get to lay it all down. And you create this environment to where there's no judgment, right? Nobody's going to beat you up for what you did or didn't do or what you thought, unless it's you. Um, and it really forces you to think in a outside of the box fashion, because most coaches, they're not involved in your day to day. They're not involved in what
Right.
you're doing, so they're really objective to what you're doing, and they can provide some unique ideas, some tips, some strategies, but then they can get in your space with you and hold up a mirror and say, hey, this is something that's coming up. You want to look at this, because it might be a big thing going down the road if you don't address it now. And I say those moments have been the most impactful, because then I came face to face with me, and I'm like, what do you want to do? We get to decide here. And it's a difference than, you choose. It's like choose, you get here or there. But decide says, I'm going to go forward. This is where I'm going. I'm not negotiating. This is what we're doing. And you just kind of fall in line. And I think coaching really helped to spearhead that and get me on the right track.
Okay. All right, coach. I got a question for you,
Yeah.
coach. From a coaching standpoint, point of view, however you want to say it, what's one piece of advice that as a coach you would give to someone that feels stuck in the middle of change? They know they might know what they should be doing or how to go about it, but is there anything that you can, in a general manner, I know a lot of things will be specific, but in a general manner, what type of advice could you give to someone that feels stuck in the middle of change? And I know a lot of people, especially since 2020, have experienced this. They just feel stuck. I
Mhm.
have a very good friend of mine from back in my theater days, and she's like a basket case right now. She just feels stuck. So, what
Mhm.
advice would you give to someone like that?
That's a really good question. And I think, my viewpoint on that is kind of a little different, because I do go and I do the traditional coaching where I meet them where they are, of course, non-judgment. But then what I like to do is, once we've laid all the chips on the table, I go in with just this hard, firm, yet gentle challenge. And I want to know how bad or how committed are you to really doing the things that you say? And then I go in and I ask the hard questions. Well, what are you willing to do that you're not going to come back to me in a week or two and tell me that you haven't done? And I use their language, I use their thought process to really help them through. And then I leave the ball in their court, because I don't care what it is that we're going through. It's ultimately up to you. You and I can have this conversation today, Calvin, and you can tell me, Kashaun, I really feel like there's some things I want to do. And I can get in there and I can give you the best coaching that I know how to do. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make a change, if you're going to do something, that results or that lies with you, not me. I'll support you in any way that I can, but that's your job.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Sounds good to me. Now, I like to have some humorous comments as well.
Yep.
So let's just say life decides to change the plan without your without your permission. Okay? Life didn't ask you, can we change this? It just did it. Okay? Um, would you breathe through it, pray through it, or grab some chocolates and just wait for clarity? Got you. Told you we're gonna laugh.
You did. You did. Well, so I would not grab chocolate and wait for clarity. That's for one. But I am a huge proponent of prayer. I think in all that I share in terms of my story, and I'm very vocal about my story, it's just because it's what makes me me. The catalyst in that has been my faith. It has been the thing that has gotten me through the darkest of times, and also the highest of mountaintops, right? I think it's been that thing that's been present in both. And I just don't know that this version of Kashaun would be here without my faith. And that's what I always go to.
All right. Amen. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Yes, indeedy. Now you help people move forward, well, take the next step forward. Okay. But let's be real. I've done it. Have you ever taken a few steps backward first? And what did that teach you about moving forward again? Have you ever had to take a few steps backwards before you started moving forward again?
Oh man. Yes. I mean, hands down. I think at every iteration of change that I've gone through, I've had to take a step back. I've had to take a beat. I've had to assess, look at, where I am. If it's a skills gap, if it's a emotional gap, whatever it is, I've had to just take a moment and look at it, especially in this world of entrepreneurship. Because like I shared, I didn't have a blueprint. I'm literally creating this thing as I go because I just didn't know any other way. So I had to take a step back, survey the landscape, then figure out what does support look like? What do I need? And how do I begin to close the gaps? And what that allowed me to do, which is why I'm such a huge proponent of it, is it got me further faster. When I gave myself the permission to just take a beat and really take that hard, honest look at what I was doing and that it wasn't working. And then reconvene and reroute. Let's go.
All right.
And then just keep moving.
Okay. Now, I know in my personal life, when I've had to take a few steps backwards before going forward again, I took that opportunity. I didn't really understand what I was doing at the time, but I had to go back and get something. I had to go back and clarify something, and once I went back, because going back, what's back there, right? Once I went back and found it, I was like, okay, moving forward makes sense now. I'm ready. I'm actually ready to do this. That's why that question came up. And for our viewers as well, sometimes you may need to take a step backwards before you can start moving forward again. There's nothing wrong in that. As long as you keep in mind where you need to be going is forward. Would you
Yes.
agree?
Oh, wholeheartedly. And sometimes, Calvin, the step forward won't open up until you go back.
There you
And
go. That's right. That's
so you
right.
just have to, right? And that's
That's
okay.
right. That's right. That's right. And like you said earlier, I think you said God has a sense of humor, or
Oh my
life has a
gosh.
sense of humor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're supposed to go back, sometimes you are made to go back.
Yes. Yes,
And you
indeed.
and you might stand there like, why am I going backwards? There's a reason.
Yes.
So here's another fun question. Let's talk about change. Let's give change a personality.
Mm.
If change had a personality, would you describe it as a drama queen, a motivational coach, or that unpredictable friend who always keeps things interesting? Would change be a drama queen, a motivational coach, or that unpredictable friend that always keeps things interesting?
That is a great question. um, you know what, Calvin? I would say that for me, I don't think that change fits any of those.
Mm,
I think that for me, change is like the parent. It's like we're going this way. We're doing this. And I find that myself, I'm the drama queen. I'm the motivational speaker. I am the
okay.
one that's just trying to pep myself up. Oh, okay, we got to do this. Here we go. Because again, like it's that immovable thing. It shows up and you just have to deal with it. One way or another, it's happening. You can figure out how you want to get on board, but it's here and it's not going anywhere. So, so I love that question.
Thank you for that. I sometimes have considered change, and as you said, it was none of those, but I found it to be sometimes a real pain in the butt.
Oh,
Um, Time spent, things that you have to learn, uh, things that sometimes it's even changing your point of view, and it's it's not easy. It's not easy. So if I had to give it a personality, sometimes I would say yes, pain in the butt, but it's something that's necessary. So here's another question for you. You've helped people grow through transitions, uh, but is there any one change that caught you off guard? Any change that caught you off guard and made you say, "Okay, Lord, this wasn't in the brochure."
oh boy.
Totally out of left field.
All of them. I mean, I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble picking one. I think you know, the loss of my husband. He had epilepsy, and that's not
Hmm.
something that's supposed to be terminal, right? It's like he had a car accident and just didn't come back home. And then my career, it was like we were there doing business and everything seemed to be fine. And then the next day we come in and there's an all hands meeting and they're like, okay, well, yeah, we're gonna close. So it's like they all just kind of sprung up there. And that's why I said it's like life has a really interesting sense of humor. But it's not asking for your permission. So you can get on board or you don't have to. But either way it goes, it's here.
Okay, that's correct. Now, I know we talked a little bit about motivation earlier, and I just want to ask, this is kind of on the personal side, how do you stay grounded and positive? How do you do it when life throws unexpected changes your way?
Okay. That's a great question. In full transparency, I allow myself the space to have whatever feelings that I'm going to have. And I think with that, it allows me to calm myself and not just be in this constant shock mode. But then at the same time, once I'm done, and I do give myself a cutoff, it's like, okay, so now what do we want to do? And I'm huge, like I said, my faith has been I don't even know how to describe it. I say that, God found me just in a pile of mess, and he gradually built me up and picked me up. And I don't take that for granted, because I say, of all the people that he could have chosen, he picked me. And so what a privilege and honor that is. And so as I'm allowing myself to go through these unfair tantrums that I like to have, I still get myself up, because it's my due diligence. It's my give back. It's like, I'm going to do this because he gifted this to me. He obviously saw something that's in me that he wants me to give to the world. And that's how I stay positive. That's how I stay grounded.
All right. Thank you for that.
Mm.
That's a great answer. And I would agree with you. Even for me, a lot of that positive attitude that I try to show has to do with my faith. And it took me a long time to get to this point, because I used to like if there was a parked car, I used to like to chase the parked car and get a flat head. I would just keep banging, banging, banging. And suddenly you realize there's an easier way, and that's where my faith comes into play. Let's talk about mindset. I believe that everything begins with mindset. Anything that I have done, anything that I want to do, it always begins with the mindset. So what role does mindset play in turning change into growth? Because somebody out there needs to hear this. And I know you got a good answer.
I think mindset plays a huge role in any level of success that anyone is going to have, right? I think whether it's change or even just being productive, it's the thing that, and I always get worked up. So please forgive me and bear with me, Calvin, because I think nowadays we get so focused on just trying to make sure that we're upbeat and we're positive and we're saying the right things, that we really don't give ourselves the space or the permission to just cultivate what is your purview need for where you're going or what you're going through, and cultivate your mindset around that, right? Because what I found that in all the changes that I went through, I was exhausted. And nobody ever told me that, Kashaun, you could be exhausted. It's like, I guess so. Or nobody ever told me that, I could not like this. But here I am, and I'm not liking it. So it was like, okay, but even after all of those things, even after the exhaustion, after I don't like it, now what? And that's really how I began to shape my mindset. It's like the mindset doesn't come in and negate any of those things. It just really helps me to create the frame that I'm going to work out of. And so I think of, what do I need? Who do I need to become? And what do I need to do? It's just that simple.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for this great conversation. Don't leave yet, because we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back in 60 seconds with Born to Speak to You TV, where I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV. Here is your Born to Rise tip. Never quit. If you stumble, just get back up. What happened yesterday no longer matters, because today is another day. So get back on track and move closer to your dreams and your goals. You can do this. You got this, but you cannot quit. When you quit, things fall through the cracks. Sometimes it's hard to get going again. So if you stumble, and we all do, just get back up. What happened yesterday, let it stay where it is in the past. It doesn't matter. Today is another day. And get back on track. Move closer to your dreams and your goals because you can do it.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and today we've been talking with Kashaun Parker about growing through what you go through. And she has given us some great information. And now I want to ask you some questions about your amazing books that you've written, your resources to help people through transitions. Can you tell the viewers a bit about your books and where they can find them?
Oh, absolutely. My books. So I am a co-author in the Voices of the 21st Century project. And these books are stories of inspiration, and I like to say a little bit of motivation and wisdom as well, that talks about real things that happen to real people. And through the experience of reading these books, what you're going to find is you'll find your story. That's what I love to tell people. It's like, it's almost impossible to not pick up these books and really find you and find something that uniquely resembles your experience. I know for me, I signed up for this project because I wanted to give my community a way to understand me. This is outside of the business. This is outside of any of the work that I do to help and motivate others. I wanted to give my community a glimpse of me so that when I tell you that you could do it and you read my story, you go, okay, I get it. I guess I don't have an excuse. That was the point, because it's a big thing for me to not only just preach a message. I think that's part of what God has given me. He says, these are your trenches. So when you go to pull others through it, they will then see what's possible for them. So our paths may not be identical, but they're similar. And if I'm telling you you can do it, this is me showing you you can do it. And now I'm partnering with you. You really have no excuse.
Yeah. All right, now.
Yes.
And where can they find the book?
At my on my website, nextstepforwardcoach.com. There's a link, and so I have 2 of them that are already out. You can order your copy today, and then a third one that actually releases in February of 2026, which I'm super excited about.
All right, fantastic.
Yes.
When will early voting, but early buying, pre-ordering start?
Pre-ordering starts I think it's the last week in January, usually around the 26th or so of January, we release that. So if you're not already a part of the community, this would be a great time to join the community, because I do put out the links for pre-order and early release access and all that good stuff.
Okay. And I think we already have this answer, but for anyone watching today who wants to connect with you, learn more, or even work with you, what's the best way for them to reach you to take their next step forward?
Absolutely. 2 best ways. One is my website, nextstepforwardcoach.com, and I have my social links there. But I'm also extremely visible on social media platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook. So you can find me on either of those as well.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And Kashaun, thank you for reminding us that change doesn't have to break us. It can help build us. And you've shown that when we approach change with purpose and with faith, it can become a pathway to progress. So thank you very much for being on the show. And this is Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Kashaun, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Calvin. Thanks, everybody.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And I want to share with you a little personal story of my journey. There was a time when I didn't say much at all. I was content with being quiet unless someone spoke to me, then I would respond. If I was at a party, there was a group of people and somebody wanted to be the life of the party, they could have it. I didn't want it. In fact, if you had told the younger version of me that one day I'd be hosting a TV show, training professionals, speaking on stages, I would have probably just laughed at you, but I would have done it silently. As you see, I was that shy kid who preferred to stay in the background, and I thought speaking up meant risking embarrassment. But over time, life kept presenting me with changes, moments that forced me to step out of the quiet and into my calling. My first big change came when I got bit by the acting bug. I went to a lot of theater on and off Broadway in New York City, but I never thought about getting on stage myself because, as I said, I was shy. I didn't have the skills. I stuttered a little bit, and I just could never see myself on the stage talking to people, talking to an audience. But through change, I moved to Chicago. I got bit by the acting bug. I spent the next 15 years going around Chicago, going on auditions, becoming an actor, director, writer, producer in the theater, producing not only dramas and comedies, but dinner theaters, and doing fundraisers for churches. Uh, you name it, I did it. I found my voice. And that was the biggest change in my life. It meant that I not only had found my voice, but I could help other people find their voices too. So when we talk about embracing change, I'm not talking theory, I'm talking about life experience. Because I learned that when you stop running from change and start walking with it, you find yourself walking along the path, and on that path is your purpose. And my guest today, Kashaun Parker, knows all about that journey. She's someone that's made it her mission to help others navigate transformation and move forward with purpose. Now, a little bit about the purpose of your path. It is to discover. It is to discover and live according to your core values. We all should have core values. We should understand the things that are important to us and the unique difference that each of us bring and that each of us are made to make. The path itself, it is the journey. It took a long time for me to understand that the path is the journey, and it may include, most likely, it will include obstacles, changes in directions. But your purpose is the guiding force that provides meaning and direction in your life. If you think you're going to go from A to Z in a straight line, think about the old clipper ships with the big sails. They would go and the wind would blow them off course, or a storm would take them in another direction. There was uncharted islands in the way, and they very seldom made it from A to Z in a straight line. So such is our journey. We're going to have obstacles in the way. We're going to have things that's going to blow us off course. The thing is to remember where you're going through self reflection, prioritizing in your life what is most important to you, and using your unique combination of talents and passions to contribute to this world in a meaningful way. Today's episode was called Growing Through What You're Going Through. Now, here's my challenge for each of the viewers out there. Yes, you and you and you and you too. Here's your challenge. Find out what change is going on in your life. Change is all around us. Change is something that a lot of us are going through, and we may not even really recognize the change. It could be subtle, it could be something big and bold, but change is all around us. Identify what that change is, and then find out how you can navigate this, how you can move forward in that change. Yes, it may be uncomfortable. Transitions usually are, but at the end of it, you're going to be a much better person and a much better contributor to this thing we call life. So that is it for this show. I am your host, Calvin Gibbs. I want to invite you, if you can see the QR code on the screen, I want to invite you to come see our YouTube page, Born to Speak to You, where the twos are the number 2. There's the QR code, and follow us. We have all of our episodes up there. You can send me comments, whether you like the show, what you want to see different in the show, your thoughts on the show. Maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Put that into the comments as well, and someone will be sure to get back to you. So that's pretty much it for this episode of Born to Speak to You TV. And I want to thank again my guest, Kashaun Parker. I also want to thank DFN Broadcast Studio for this opportunity to bring this show to you. And always, always, always to our viewers, speak life into the moments that matter. And I will see you at the next episode.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow. Speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase